very warm welcome to everyone to our webinar. I hope everyone can hear me. Okay, very good morning to our friends from Europe. Good afternoon to those in Asia and Middle East, and good evening to those in Australia and New Zealand. In case we have friends from North America, a very good morning, a very good early morning to you. My name is Alan from Singapore. I'm the Regional Head of Business Development for Southeast Asia. I will be the host for today's webinar, which is the very first of our 6-part webinar series. So with me today is Tessa Hayman, our product specialist from UK. So Tessa, we'd like to say hello to everyone.
Hello, glad to be here at this early morning for me.
All right, thank you. So Tessa, can you proceed to the next slide, please? Right, so this is a 1-hour webinar. We will spend about 45 minutes giving you an overview of our Aimsun Next integrated multi-tier modeling software, sharing with you the multimodal simulation that covers not just vehicles, but also public transport, bicycles, pedestrians, our very unique hybrid simulation capabilities with demos of current models around the world. We will talk a bit about the program capabilities, scripting, and APIs on how to make the simulation more flexible according to your needs. And lastly, I will touch on how you can trial, buy, and manage your Aimsun Next subscriptions. We will have last 10 to 15 minutes to take your answers, which you can post it here. In fact, you can start posting your questions along the way while we are presenting. You do not have to wait till the end. For your information, your mics and videos are muted. If you have any questions, you can just always post it on this channel. Right. By the way, we will have a small surprise for everyone at the end of the webinar. So please stay till the end. Right. So next slide, please. So a quick introduction of Aimsun, just in case some of you are new to us. We have been in the industry for the past 27 years in over 100 countries. In fact, we just celebrated our 27th anniversaries last week. We are a technology leader, having simulated the billions of vehicle kilometers of roads. Our simulations run faster than real time, typically 10 to 20 times faster. And we are a trusted brand and company that delivers on our promises. Now, the multiple awards that we receive from our clients over the years are testimony of our professionalism and works that we've done in different regions. Next slide. Our headquarters is in Barcelona, Spain. Besides our other European offices in Paris and London, we also have offices in New York, Sydney, Singapore, and Abu Dhabi, which is our latest addition. Next slide. So what do we do? So our foundations lie in our strong research and development of a powerful and unique traffic modeling and simulation software for multimodal planning and operations for transport authorities, for consultants, city municipals, and planners. And beyond this, we have also been involved in the development of a real-time predictive traffic decision support system for a long time. So I remember that in 2001, while I was still a young engineer working in our transport authority in Singapore, I was tasked to evaluate simulation tools available in the market that have the ability to do real-time prediction at a time as we are upgrading our traffic control center. And guess what? So Aimsun was one of them that I evaluated, and back then was more than 20 years ago. And the company was called TSS. It was not changed to Aimsun yet. Right. And today, predictive transportation management is a key component in modern traffic management centers. So this is a big topic by itself, and we will reserve it for our subsequent webinar. And today, we'll just focus very much on Aimsun Next, our software. In recent years, we also saw the rise of new mobility solutions, such as car sharing, bike sharing, on-demand bus, mobility as a service. So one of our key activities is to support organizations in evaluating and assessing the effectiveness, the challenges and opportunities of shared mobility models. So for example, what is the best route to take and where's the best pickup points and drop-off points? So, and last but not least, we need to be forward-looking too. We have been actively involved in autonomous vehicle R&D projects, customizing solutions for AV stack testing. Next slide, Tessa. So I will not spend too much time on this slide. Basically, it's more to share that we have a global team with end-to-end expertise from software development through solution design, data treatment by our data scientists, and a team that could do software maintenance. So important is that we are an organization that think global and act local. Now, next, I will hand you to Tessa, who will bring you through our Aimsun Next on the features and functionalities and the dynamic capabilities of it. Tessa, to you.
All right. So I am going to, in this webinar, hopefully you already know this, but I'm going to go through Aimsun Next and just tell you about some of the best features and some of the things you can do, give you a quick bit of a demo, and then show you some videos of one of our large-scale models across the world. So you might have heard about our solutions, or you might have heard about Aimsun Next, and you might be a bit confused about which is which. That is fine. Aimsun Next is our standalone piece of software that you can use and you can license, that we license for other people to be able to use to test their planning and their offline traffic management reaction plans. They might be looking at development planning. It's where you may be doing questions, but not in real time. And there isn't a web-based interface to use it. Instead, we've got this piece of software that is highly extensible, highly customizable, and powerful to allow you to be able to simulate things that you want to know the answer to. So what makes us different is that we have an integrated transport platform. So we have one piece of software that models all different types of transport models, from the 4-step, highly strategic macroscopic models down to the microscopic level, even including pedestrians and cyclists. All of these don't just happen in the same software, they happen in the same file. So you have a single network, a single point of truth, that then you can choose which level of modeling you want to model and which style. And then you can share information between those levels as appropriate, as you will see. But one example might be you have a regional macroscopic level model with links to a external demand model, or you might have the demand model inside Aimsun. You can then sub-area this using a tool called subnetwork and run a smaller level at a smaller area at a mesoscopic or microscopic level. By using the macroscopic level at the higher part, you will get consistency of demand, consistency of network, consistency of zoning between your strategic level and your more operational levels. To enable this, we have a unique traffic assignment framework. So there are two elements inside a simulation. There is network loading, which is how you calculate your travel time. This would be thought of as macroscopic or mesoscopic or microscopic. And then you have your assignment, which is how you give your vehicles a route through the network. And we have macro assignment, we have a static assignment for that. And you can share route choice between your different levels. So you can take a static assignment for the route choice and then have mesoscopic network loading or microscopic network loading with that. You can also only have some of your vehicles using static assignment and some of them using meso or micro. The reasons why you might do this is to have a more stable network, to be able to create your models more quickly, again, to have more consistency. But most of all, it's flexible, so it allows you as the user to choose which type of route choice is most appropriate for your model. So something else that is very good inside Aimsun Next is our user interface. So we have all of the basics of undo, redo, and copy and paste, which allows you to build junctions pretty quickly and test stuff out. We have a table view that allows you to change parameters of multiple objects all at the same time. There is a network checker, so you can run the network checker and it will check for basic errors that might be wrong. So a junction that is missing a give way, for instance, or a speed limit that looks a little bit too fast. It might be the case that those are correct, but we have it there so to flag to the user to be able to look for those things, which when you're building really large scale models is very useful. We also have scenario management, which I'll just show you in a minute, and scripting. So I'll explain it again in a minute, but everything that we do in our user interface, pretty much, can be done via a Python script. This allows you to automate a lot of processes in a flexible way that you wish to do it. So importing traffic data, importing signal plans. By giving you the ability to do it from scripting, it means that you can do this from any format that you wish. Okay, I am going to switch, and give you a quick demo of our model. So bear with me whilst I switch it over. Okay, so this is our user interface. It can be done, we have two different modes. We have dark mode and light mode. So you may see some people have got a light gray version. It's exactly the same. I just have mine in dark mode for ease of readability. This is our general interface. We'll start off with the tools. And I will change the view mode back to here. So we always have tools over here. It's very similar to vector imaging programs. You can easily draw roads by clicking the draw tool. And you can do these straight with curves and with proper curves as well. So if I use the curve tool here, we can put in some curves. We can change number of lanes very quickly by either changing the number of lanes in this interface menu here, or with keyboard shortcuts. So Control plus the number of lanes that you want. And when you get used to this, it means that you can build your models very, very quickly. And you can always edit them. So you can add in side lanes. You can add in merges just by selecting at the end. You can angle the end like this. And it is very intuitive. So if I go to our network, we can edit very easily the network if we wanted to. To add in junctions, I'm going to go to a junction. I'm going to delete it. So I can just press delete on my keyboard. I can select objects using this box, and it will select all the ones that the box touches. And I can click the create a node button, and it will create me a node. I can then add in the giveaways. So I might guess, this might be wrong for this location, but I could guess that these might be giveaways. This one might be a priority. And you can see that they're then colored orange. So as you go around your model, you can quickly look and see whether things have been coded correctly. You can also make them to be a stop sign or right turn on red. So if it is a signalized junction, we include right turn on red, which will allow vehicles to go through a red light if they're turning right. Or if you're in a left-hand driving part of the world, it would be left turn on, left turn on red. We do offer both sides of the road. So adding things like bus stops is very easy. It's something that we wanted. It's something we really, really care about, is making that easy to use for you. Now I'm trying to think of all of the other helpful features. So you can switch to Google Maps very quickly. So if I click show locations in Google Maps, I'll just move the screen again so you can see. We can see the location. And this makes it really easy and quick to check that you've got things in the right place. But also our model is fully connected, that you can import data, GIS data from anywhere. So as long as it's got a longitude and latitude, and then if you're in the same coordinate reference system, you can import things directly, as we've geolocated this in the correct place. You can import tiles as well, using the WMS server. So if you have tiled map information, you can use that as a background at any point. If you don't have that and you want to import from a certain source, we have loads of different things you can import from. The most common are GIS. So if you have a shapefile of your network, you can use the GIS. That will import directly in as much detail as your GIS file has. So it can import the number of lanes, the lane connections, the giveaways, all of that information. And there have been some models, such as the model of Oslo, was originally built just from GIS. You can import from OpenStreetMap files as well as from the internet. So you can go to a location inside Aimsun Next, you say import OpenStreetMap, and it will import the OpenStreetMap as a network like this. You probably will have to do some refinement, but it's a really good starting point, because it gives you all of the connections, a good idea of the road hierarchy, to allow you to start your work. You can also, as you can see, import from Paramix, Saturn, Visim, and Visum. And if there are other ones that you would like, just get in contact with us and we can see what we can do for you. We do also offer exporting, so you can export out to GIS as well as some other model files. So I'm going to go look at the project window now over here. So this model is an example model from Spain that is a macroscopic model with a mesoscopic area and a microscopic area inside. You can use filters by right-clicking in the white space to go between different views. When you have got a model with different levels, this is really useful because you can easily see which bits are being modeled at different levels. So I'm just going to put the no filter on, and I'm going to turn map mode off. So we have map mode in there to make the UI quicker when you've got very, very big models, such as the Paris model, which I'll show you later on. So over here, as you can see, we've got our project window, and this is where we can see the integrated levels and the different things being worked on in this example file. So we work with master control plans. Master control plans allow you to have different control plans at different times, as well as specifying control plans for certain junctions separately, whilst having a more strategic one at a different zone. And this could be useful when you're testing out signal plans. So you can have your base ones in zone 1, and then the ones that you're changing in zone 2. We have data analysis. So in data analysis, I'm just also going to include view modes. So you can create your own view modes. So these ones, for instance, are custom inside this model. I'm just going to show you some basics. So here's the road type. We can check the road type in the legend tab here, and we can see what the different colors are. So this green one is the motorway. We've got red for the residential areas, got yellow for the primary. As I say, this is customizable. So I can quickly change this to be pink. And we can see that here. We also have other ones. I'm trying to think what will be easy to show. I'll see what this one looks like. So this is showing you the names of the centroids. Again, I could change this. So instead of saying name, I can change it to say ID. And it will give me the IDs instead. This is really useful, not only for reporting your results, so it can report your results later, but for when you're building the model to be able to understand what's going on and identify if there's any issues. All right. We also have grouping categories. So grouping categories, again, are very, very flexible, but it allows you to create outputs for a certain set of objects. So here, for example, we have some sections. We'll turn this view mode off. So this grouping has all of these sections in it, and it means that we can get the outputs just for those sections. You could use this for grouping together different areas in your network. So you might have it at a county or neighborhood level, and then you can get the effect of your scheme at that county or neighborhood level and check that there aren't certain areas of your network that are getting worse results, while the global results are giving positive results for your scheme. We also have real data sets. So I'll see if I can retrieve this. Yep. So real data set is a connection to the observed data that you have. Again, this is really flexible. There is no defined format. It is whatever format you want. You define these. Sorry, it is generally using a CSV, but what order of fields you have and which fields you have is completely up to you. So here we specify that the first field would be ID, then this would be time, and then this would be count. So if I go to the detectors view mode, I can see where all the detectors are in this network. And hopefully I can zoom in on one. Can open it up. And I now have a time series for this detector. So from my real data set, I can now see the counts at this location. You could use real data sets for checking your calibration and validation, as well as matrix estimation, which inside Aimsun Next we call matrix adjustment. So if you would like to get your matrices to match your counts, then you can use a real data set to do that. But you can also then run your model, check your demand against the count in the validation tab of the model. Okay, centroid configurations. So a centroid configuration is just another name for a zoning system. You can have multiple different zoning systems. So if I create a new one, you can see all my centroids have just disappeared. So the centroids of these little blue things, you can have different centroid configurations. This might make sense if you've got demand coming from different strategic models, or you want to test different zoning systems. Our demand is made up of matrices, although you can use traffic states as well. And adding in the demand is really easy. You can drag things around. I can add in a matrix more than once. So I'm going to add them again. I can change the factor here. Then if I go to profile, I can see we now have a profiled demand. If you would like it to be profiled without just straight factors, you can create multiple matrices to do that. We also have an adjustment tool. So it will, using the macroscopic model, it will profile your matrix ready to be used in a dynamic model. This is called OD departure adjustment. If you have a traffic profile as well, you can also directly apply this, and it will split up your matrices for you into the specified percentages. Okay, so coming to the scenarios, this is the way we work. So you might have said, okay, how do you have all these different levels in the same model file? How do you know what you're doing? So we have scenarios. These would act like a single model file in some other packages. So in your scenario, you might specify your demand. You might specify your public transport plan, as well as where your path assignment plan. So this is your route choice, and then your control plan. So for example, this scenario might be this area in the AM in 2017 in the base. And so we'd have the AM matrices and the AM control plan, as well as the AM public transport plan. To then switch that to the PM, you'd then put the PM demand in, and PM control plan, and PM public transport plan. Inside this, we then specify which type of network loading we want to use. So I'm going to create one. So I'll just say new experiment. And I might say mesoscopic simulator with stochastic route choice. And then an experiment is created. If I go here, we can easily see this one that's already been set up for us. In the experiment, you specify your warm-up, specify the simulation area if you're doing a hybrid model. Again, I'll explain what that is soon. Then you can specify behavioral models, the reaction time, arrivals, all of your different routing parameters, and traffic management policies. Inside that, you will have a replication, and this replication is like a single roll of the dice. It has a random seed, and this is what you will run. So as you can see, we have a dynamic scenario here and a static one and a static experiment. We then have subnetworks here. So if I select objects inside this subnetwork, we can see that this is a subnetwork area. I can also filter it to be that subnetwork area. So in this subnetwork area, again, we've got some dynamic scenarios, some static ones, and then some hybrid macro-mesos. And I will just show you a micro model running. Hopefully it will be good. So in the warm-up, we are just running the model without showing the cars, which can speed up your runtime. If we let it play, it might look a bit jerky now, but we can make the view smoother using this. We can make it faster or slower. This isn't changing the internal simulation. This is just how you're viewing it. You can record for video here. And turn that off. You can also play it to a certain time here. So if I play it to 6:03, for instance, which time here, I can fast forward to 6:03 and then have a look at it. At any point, I can click on a car, find out information about it. This is useful for your calibration. And I can also show some view modes whilst it's running. So might fast forward a little bit. So we can see here that the numbers on the side are changing whilst the model's running. The coloration is being done every 15 minutes. So right now it's not very congested anywhere, but we can see in other places we've got higher densities. All right, I'm going to come off the demo now, unless I'm just going to think what else I might want to show you. So I'll discuss this later, but we do have traffic management strategies that you can put in. So we can close turns whilst the model is running against certain triggers. We can change the signals based on certain triggers. Most things that a traffic controller in the control room can do, we can do here. But this could be useful when you're doing events planning or roadworks planning for a large scale event. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this one and go back to the presentation. Okay, so I mentioned hybrid modeling. Hybrid modeling, again, is pretty unique to Aimsun, and it allows you to have different levels of modeling, so different network levels inside the same simulation. So we can have an area that is microscopic inside a model that is doing a mesoscopic area. So it's as simple as drawing a polygon and saying that this area is a microsim area. So this is how it's being done. I'm just going to go back to the video at the start and we can, so we can see it running here. You can see we've got vehicles that are micro vehicles and then colors around the outside. So the colored areas are meso and these ones with the cars are micro. The reason that you might want to do this is that you might have a model that is pretty good at mesoscopic, but the thing that you want to test needs the microscopic model for the test to really capture what's going on. So you might be looking at a bus priority corridor. For example, that's what's in this model along here. And you want to get the actuation of the detectors to be in the correct place. But you want the micro, but you'd like to capture the rerouting around the microscopic area without having to build a full microscopic area, full microscopic model, which can take a long time. But also the runtime on that will be quite a bit longer. So we allow you to work out where you'd like the detail. So that could be at a certain merge. It could be testing signals, looking at bus priority, all those kinds of things, maybe a cyclist scheme and you'd like to use non-lane based cyclists. Here you can do that. We also allow macro-meso hybrid. So this allows you to use macroscopic modeling where you care about it and mesoscopic modeling in it where you care about it. So this uses individual vehicles. So it uses dynamic assignment. So it uses the exact same assignment level as microscopic or mesoscopic modeling. However, our network loading uses analytical functions. So it uses in Aimsun Next language, vehicle delay functions and term penalty functions, sorry, volume delay functions, term penalty functions, and junction delay functions. But you might not know what I'm on about. So it's using speed flow curves, basically, to work out the time that a vehicle might take to get through the network. This can be done at an instantaneous trip if you are used to using a package like Saturn, where you might have a buffer area, or as a normal trip going step by step if you have data from the exact starting zone to the end zone and you want to capture that more like a demand model method. The routes, so the routes can go through the macro area, through the meso area, through the macroscopic, and so on. The reason you might do this is similar to the microscopic. You might be looking at a region and you want to capture the congestion effects and to capture a dynamic effect in your city centre, but you would like to understand the rerouting of measures in a larger area, in which case a macro-meso model might be appropriate. So it's sharing the path assignment and the link costs every cost interval. So some other key features. So like I said, outputs are fully customizable. So there's loads of different maps you can do. You can create dots that go around. You can create histograms, all those kinds of things as shown in the video. You can compare multiple scenarios against each other and create a view mode to check that. So you can directly see the effect of your scheme. And you can compare against observed data for calibration. You can record, not just as video, but you can record as in microscopic model and replay that. So you can then go backwards in time and forwards in time and double click vehicles, understand what's going on at a more detailed level. You can output to GIS, as I said before, and there's a really easy to use database as well. So all of these results get saved in a database that you can then interrogate. You can use Python, pandas, whatever to use to do your data analytics, as well as retrieve it yourself. So you could run your models overnight and then retrieve them and have a look at them later. We do include non-lane based traffic. So this is an example of more European style, where the vehicles might have, you might have what we call bike boxes, and the bikes might be able to go to the front of the queue. Our bikes do cluster and work pretty well. We can also offer more dense non-lane based traffic, where you might have tuk-tuks or motorbikes, and without this kind of bike box thing. And again, as you can see, because we've got this clustering, we can have all of the vehicles using non-lane based traffic. So even the cars and the lorries here are considering there's no lanes. We also offer pedestrians. So our pedestrians here, so this is just an example model. They can cross crossings. They can call pedestrian phases inside signals. They will interact using the social force model. They can board buses and disembark buses. It is quite powerful. Both the cyclist and pedestrian parts are included by default into your package when you get a microscopic license. Our pedestrian model is aimed at looking at the interactions with traffic. So there are some limitations. It doesn't work on 3D and other things. So it's not a full pedestrian package, but we have the ability there to allow it to call signals, to have the giveaways. You don't need to just put it on signalized junctions. So I had a question in Norway just this week. Do you need to just have it on signalized junctions? No. So you can have it on just a normal crossing, and the pedestrian can have priority, or the car can have priority. That's all up to you. Okay. Traffic management. So we also offer traffic management. You can have parking schedules in there. You can put in prohibited turns. You can reserve bus lanes. These can be turned on and off during the simulation. Loads of different things in there that allow you to look at do event management stuff. So we did some stuff for the Paris Olympics. We've done stuff, I think, for the Commonwealth Games in Brisbane before. We have that ability there for you. Again, that is just as standard with the license. Programming capabilities. So we allow you to script as standard. So you can edit the model, access the outputs. It's very extensible. So you can use it to run models. You can use it to change all of the sections to a certain speed for using some algorithm. There isn't any much limitation to the possibilities there. We also have the API. This allows you to perform actions during the simulation. So if you would like to test a new signal algorithm, then you might want to use this. Or there's loads of other things. Again, if you read our documentation, which is all freely accessible online, you can see some examples of some API. Okay, so just as a final thing, I'm going to just quickly show you one of our models that we built of Paris. So we've been building the Paris model since 2010. and it's been used for loads of different things of transport planning, master plans. Now it's being used extensively for their public transport routes and their active mobility schemes. So there's loads of pedestrianisation going on in Paris, as well as segregated bike routes, placemaking projects, and so on. It all kind of comes from this idea of an integrated model. So there is a large-scale Paris model that is fully calibrated at a macroscopic and mesoscopic level. And then subnetworks can be created at certain areas to, again, analyze in more detail certain things or run things in isolation. But what's most important is they're being done in a consistent way, because the whole of the area has been calibrated to a reasonable standard to allow the smaller areas to work in the same way without having to have full coding guides, to be able to find it difficult to move between different data sources. You can import one data source once and get that information. So this video is just showing the mesoscopic model of Paris, a recording of that. So this one, I'm just going to show you that this one's there. So this is a example of the Arc de Triomphe junction. We have exported the outputs there from the microscopic model into a 3D package. And again, it's just showing you zooming in and out the different levels that were done. So we've been able to do the Arc de Triomphe at a microscopic level. Okay. So here you can see we've got this macroscopic model, then a mesoscopic sub-area, and then a micro. So we're looking at creating the right model for the right study. It's not the case that you always need a micro model, and it's not the case that you always need a macro. But having a consistent map and a consistent set of demand is a real good starting point. And it avoids those questions of, well, this model says this one says this, and then try and work out whether it's the demand, all these other things. We have one set of information coming through. Okay, I'm going to hand back to Alan now to speak about the subscription model.
Right. Thank you, Tessa. So thank you for such a detailed explanations of our Aimsun Next features. So I'm sure some of you may be asking, okay, so now how do I get the license to use? Or what kind of additions there are, and what kind of price do I have to pay? So I'm going to address some of these burning questions that you may have in the next couple of minutes. I know that we are running out of time, but while I'm presenting, maybe Tessa can also help to answer some of the technical questions that have been posted on the Q&A. All right, so at least we can catch up with the time. Okay, maybe Tessa can go to the next slide, please. So what happened is that all these years we have been issuing hardware key-based licensing. That means we issue dongles to our clients for them to plug into their laptops or servers in order for them to use our Aimsun software. So during the pandemic, we know most of us, we have not been able to go to work. And many times the dongles are plugged into the desktops in the office. And then there's a lot of requests for accessing to the desktop in the office. And people want to access to cloud computing, more self-management on the use of the software. And that was a big challenge for us. So while the pandemic is now behind us, we saw the importance of having a highly flexible way of how users access to the software. So in April this year, we launched not just our new edition of Aimsun Next 24, but at the same time, a new My Aimsun client portal and subscription-based licenses. Next slide. Right, so how do you acquire Aimsun Next license? So when your organization purchases subscriptions, we will require you to designate a license administrator, and we will create an account for this person known as an admin. So this admin will receive an email with instructions for setting out the password and activating the account. And once the account is activated, they can enter into our My Aimsun portal to create user accounts for their colleagues that need to access to the subscriptions. So basically, there is administrative autonomy, and admins can manage the company's pool of license and distribute among the users and reassign them when needed. So one important thing to note is that all the accounts must have an email domain that corresponds to the organizations. So what this means is that if the company name is ABC, for example, you have to use a company email domain ABC address, and you can't use a Gmail account to set up your company account, right? So we need to recognize and allow all users with the same domain to access the software. Next slide. So what are the key benefits for such subscription-based licensing model? So what are the key advantages of subscription-based license is that the admin can freely manage the company's pool of users, distributing them and reassigning them when needed. Take, for example, your organization might have 10 transport modelers who are skilled at using Aimsun Next software, but only 5 are working on a modeling project at a time. So the subscription base means that the company only needs to subscribe 5 licenses for the 5 modelers. So they can allocate them to the transport modelers and reassign them to other modelers later on when the project is over. So it's more flexible, it's more cost efficient, and definitely is more optimized resource utilizations, right? So another key benefit is that how you can use Aimsun Next on a shared computer that you have access via remote desktop connections. So this means your company allows you to access to a dedicated desktop in your office to use the software so long you have an internet connections. So in this case, the license is assigned to the computer, not the user of the computer. Next slide. Sorry, just maintain there. In terms of cloud computing, since it does not require a hardware key, sorry, Tessa, can you go back again? It does not require a hardware key. It allows you to acquire and release a license for a virtual computer, which you can create and remove on demand. In this case, a token will need to be generated by the admin. So we can also have the support on the setting up of this. So feel free to get in touch with us if you are keen to know more about the cloud computing access. Now, the key point here is that we can facilitate cloud computing easily. Security-wise, subscriptions also bring some greater security. Now, in the events that the laptop is lost, is damaged or stolen, the license will be recovered automatically at the end of the activation period. So unlike having a dongle, if it's broken or stolen, it's always a hassle to get the license back or to reissue a dongle back to you, right? So rest assured also that neither the admin nor the Aimsun staff can remotely deactivate the license. Next slide, Tessa. Right. So some of you who are existing users of Aimsun Next software, you are probably aware that previously some of the features or modules comes with extra costs over and above the software license. For example, the APIs or the adaptive control interface, just to name a few. The good news is that we have now included them as part of the software, including depending on the additions that you have choose and also based on your need. So the more powerful the addition, the more features you gain access to. You can also upgrade to a high edition to unlock the advanced capabilities of Aimsun Next. As you can see, so we have 4 different editions to choose from with the introduction of a new Light edition. Now, bear in mind that we only have one software, which is the Aimsun Next, right? So the difference in the editions are only features available to cater for the variety of users with very diverse needs. The Pro, the Advanced, and Expert editions do not have any limitations to the size of the networks or intersections, nor the number of lanes. The Light edition is meant for starters who want to micro-simulate multimodal intersections, for example, or small highway corridors. And being a starter edition, the Light does come with some size restrictions and limited features but at a very affordable price of just Euro $2,000 per year, or equivalent to Singapore dollars 3,000 per year. Okay, Tessa, next slide. So I will keep the prices for the Pro, Advanced, and Expert a secret at this moment. So reach out to us separately to get a quote for the number of licenses that you wish to have. In any case, we have a surprise gift just at the end of this webinar. So please bear with me for a couple more minutes. Right, the Pro editions here allows you to carry out extensive micro simulation works with no restrictions to the size as compared to the Lite. And the Advanced edition is basically our most popular subscriptions, as it also comes with hybrid simulation modeling, as what Tessa has earlier mentioned about meso-micro and macro-meso signal optimization interfaces. So, and in case that you are into strategic long-term planning, the Expert edition is for you, as it comes with planning software interface and travel demand modeling, basically the 4-step transportation planning process, and the full suite of features that comes with it. Right. Next slide, Tessa. Right. So besides the commercial software license, we do have the student and the academic license editions. So the student edition is meant for teaching purpose and for undergrad students. So the Aimsun Next is totally free for use, for teaching and student use. What you get is an expert edition, but with size restrictions and limitations on the number of nodes and the kilometer of lanes usage. So that's very great, right? And it's free. And basically, you can get a full suite of these Aimsun Next features. While there is restriction on the size, it is more than enough for you to learn and for mini projects. There's no time locks or limits on the daily simulation time. However, the tutor or the teacher has to obtain the student license on students' behalf. So there's no limit to the number of students' licenses, basically. But the tutor has to be responsible in managing and distributing the number of licenses within his class or schools. For the academic editions, it's meant for researchers, lecturers, and postdoctorate who are conducting research works. So similarly, you will get the Expert edition with all features included and no restrictions on the size. So we have published the price for the academic editions on our website, which is at Euro $1,200 per year, or equivalent to Singapore dollars $1,800 per year. So in case you would like to get an academic license, please reach out to us, or also student license. Okay. Next slide. Right. So in case you are on a project and you want to share your traffic model that you have done with your clients or colleagues who do not have access to our Aimsun Next software, do not worry, because we do have an Aimsun Next viewer that you can download to replay a recorded simulation or view model outputs. So we try to make life easy for everyone, right? So you can share this with your clients or colleagues who need this for them to view the simulation model. All right, next slide. So finally, we reached the page on a special surprise for you, right? So we are going to have a Black Friday offer, which starts next Friday, 29 November till the end of this year, 31st December. So we are going to level up and provide free upgrade for all new purchase during this period of time. What this means is that if you pay, for example, the 2,000 euros for the Lite versions, you're going to get a free upgrade to a Pro editions. Similarly, you will get an Expert edition for the price of an Advanced edition, right? So for those who are already planning to procure a new Aimsun Next simulation software, I would suggest that grab this chance. It's really value for money. And firstly, our simulation software is not expensive. And for those who have been with us for many years, you know about that. And with this offer, you're just going to benefit a lot more. Okay, and for those who need more time to think about it and would like to have a hands-on our software before making any decisions, you're welcome to download our free 30 days trial. Tessa, can you go to the next slide? Yes, right. So you can go to the website, fill out the form, and receive an email immediately containing the download URL for a 30-day trial versions of Aimsun Next 24. And in case you don't receive the email, do check your spam folder. Sometimes it does get into the spam folder. And note that the 30-day trial version does have some limitations since it's not intended for project work. For example, you can't save your work and you can't save the data in an external database, nor retrieve data from external database. So the aim is really for you to get a feel of the setting out of the model, simulation, and play around with the features. Right, we have tutorials tab there where you can find sample networks and you can give you an idea on the breadth of applications, the speed of simulations, and the user friendliness of the software. Right, so we have come to the end of this webinar. Now it's about the Q&A. Tessa, can we go to the next slide? So I believe many of you have posted questions on the chat group and also the Q&A sections. I think we have tried our best to answer them. If we could probably have another 5 more minutes to answer them as much as we can.
Model out more compatible with Excel. So yes, you can output to Excel if you wish to. It might require some scripting. There are some basic scripts in there for you. You do have it in SQLite. The reason is that if you have all of your data in Excel, Excel won't be able to process it. So we have it in a database to allow it to be much smaller. But that isn't to say that you can't take it from SQLite and put it into a CSV. If you need any help doing that, contact us on support. I can share a very easy script to do that. So support is support@aimsun.com. But we have the database there just because it is a lot of data. So sometimes we might be making 20 gigabyte databases.
I think there are some questions that ask about whether they'll get the recorded video for these sessions. We'll reach out to you for those who have participated in these sessions. We'll reach out to you and share with you the links on how to access the video, the recorded video, all right? And probably we'll also share with you some of the materials on the usefulness of the Aimsun Next features to you too.
So here's one I missed. Is it possible to define the thickness of a road, a feature that was previously available in Aimsun 7? Otherwise, the links may appear flat. So no, in the 3D view, if you are using 3D view, there isn't that ability. But if you wish to export to a piece of 3D generating software like 3ds Max, that is perfectly okay. That's capable in the exporters, and that's what we did for the Arc de Triomphe model.
I think we still, I mean, in case those questions that we have not answered, we'll try to reach out to you and with some of the responses as best as we can. All right, so thank you very much, everyone, for attending this webinar. And in fact, we have the second webinar that's coming up in January that will be more on the interface with adaptive traffic control systems. So look out for the space on our LinkedIn, on the registrations in January. So I hope you can join the rest of the other 5 webinars for the rest of next year. And thank you very much once again for attending these sessions this morning or this afternoon. Thank you very much.